bed bugs, a Venice entry fee, AI, and the EU 261 are all part of this huge 2024 travel update video with news and travel tips you need to know if you're planning a trip this year. Let's go. Getting right into it, let's start with some planning tips for 2024. Almost all travel trend reports are predicting 2024 to be a record-breaking year for travel around the world, and you are going to need to be prepared. What this means is more crowds and less availability. So the first tip is to make sure you are making reservations for anything and everything you have your heart set on doing at your dream destination. And the earlier that you can make those reservations, the better. This includes everything from tours like visiting the Eiffel Tower to charter boat fishing in Alaska. It doesn't matter where you plan on heading this year, you're going to need to plan and book ahead. And just how much ahead should you be booking your trip? According to the research done by Expedia, if you're planning on visiting Africa, Asia, Europe, Central America, or the South Pacific, pretty much everywhere, you should book about 8 months in advance to save an average of 8 to 18%. Basically, anywhere you want to go ahead and start planning those trips 8 to 10 months out. When you are booking your flights for your dream destination vacations, make sure you are checking all of the baggage allowances, especially if you're booking on 2 different airlines for a trip, and especially if you are booking on a European budget airline. With all the changes the airlines have been making in the past couple of years, baggage is one of the main areas where they are putting in those sneaky extra fees. If you wait to pay for your extra baggage when you get to the airport to fly out, it's going to cost you a pretty penny. Not only do you want to confirm how much baggage you're allowed to bring, for example, just a personal item or a personal item and a carry-on, but you also want to confirm the size and weight of each piece of baggage. Nothing is consistent across all of the airlines. And what you might be allowed on that US-based airline to Germany, you will have to pay extra for if you decide to take a budget flight from, let's say, Portugal to Germany. So check and double check, and don't forget to take your luggage scale with you. If you are a US citizen who is traveling abroad this year and your passport expires in 2024, you should go right now and start your renewal process. Although the processing times are way better than they were last year. In fact, back to the pre-pandemic processing times, the government still suggests renewing your passport 9 months before it expires. And as a reminder, most countries you will travel to do require your passport to be valid for at least 6 months past the time you are set to leave their country. If you're looking for some more, kind of unique places to visit or unique experiences to have when visiting your dream destination, use Instagram as a research tool. Before I went to Japan and Korea, I started exploring the hashtag for each of those countries. So hashtag Japan, hashtag Korea, and the specific cities I was going to be in. It is how we ended up finding the hike we did all the way to the top of a mountain for some udon noodles, and the really cool Buddhist temple stay we did in Seoul, Korea. Not only is using Instagram a great way to explore touring options, but you can also get some fantastic ideas for how you might want to shoot some photos once you are there. And if you really want to go all in on digital, you can use AI to at least start your travel planning for you. I had a friend who asked ChatGPT to create an itinerary for a 10-day trip to Japan in September. And then he sent it to me to review and add suggestions because I happened to be there at the time. I have to say, there were only a couple of things I added or edited on that itinerary. And like everything you do using AI, it's a great starting point, but you're still going to want to do your own research and perhaps enlist the assistance of a travel advisor when it comes time to book all of your flights and reservations. With the upheaval in the world and crazy dramatic weather patterns these days, I would not travel anywhere in 2024 without travel insurance. Travel is going to be way more expensive this year, which means you have more to lose if you need to cancel your trip or return home early. A good travel insurance policy can help offset those unexpected expenses if your plans are disrupted or you unfortunately need emergency medical coverage while you are traveling. In the description below, down there, I have a link to travelinsurance.com, which is a great tool to use to compare different policies and choose the policy that is going to be the right one for you and for your trip. Another precaution you should do this year, if you are an American citizen, is enroll in the STEP program, the Smart Traveler Enrollment Program. The primary purpose of this program is to keep American citizens safe when they are abroad. The sign-up process takes about 5 minutes, and it is the fastest way to get help from the U.S. Embassy should there be a natural disaster or perhaps a political upheaval while you are traveling in another country. Now for some European-specific travel tips and news. First, if you haven't heard by now, the ETIAS or the ETIAS or the European Travel Information and Authorization System has been delayed until May of 2025. Currently, you cannot pre-register with the system. So if you already have a Mediterranean trip scheduled for the summer of 2025, you are going to have to wait until the system launches. And given that it's already been pushed back multiple times, there is no guarantee that it will start in 2025. When it does begin, it is going to be very similar to the US version, which is called the Electronic System for Travel Authorization, but it's going to be less expensive. And when we have an update on the ETIAS, I will definitely let you know. Know your flight rights when you are traveling in Europe. The European Union law, the EU 261, is a law that supports passengers who encounter delays or cancellations when flying to, from, or between European countries, plus a few others. If you have unexpected changes in your flight or flights, you could be eligible to receive a full reimbursement for that plane ticket, plus reimbursement for phone calls, meals, transportation, and even a hotel if necessary. The rules are pretty extensive and detailed, but you definitely want to be aware of them if you are going to Europe this year. I will have a link below in the description where you can read about all of the scenarios and how you should make a claim if you need to. I have a friend who was recently coming back from Spain over Thanksgiving, and they had to go through the process. So, it's worth it if you get another like $600 to $1,200 back because your flight got delayed for, say, 12 to 24 hours. One of the predicted most popular destinations this year is Italy. Are you headed to Italy this year? I'd love to hear in the comments below if you guys have a European vacation plan for this year, because I'm going to Ireland in July, which isn't quite Europe these days, but I'm also like Portugal's up there in my mind too. But let me know if you guys are planning to go to Europe, because I'd love to hear. It seems to be super popular this year. So if you are headed to Italy and Venice is on the list of places you want to visit, you should know that starting in April of 2024, Venice is going to cap their visitor access to the famous Venice canals and charge a daily entry fee of €5, which is about $5.50 US. You will have to register online and you'll receive a QR code that will be checked at specific entry points. The city is doing this in an effort to manage the flow of tourists during peak visitation times. It's going to be really interesting to see how this experiment pans out. I guess they've been doing it in Amsterdam for a little while. In fact, Amsterdam is doubling their daily fee to get in. So if you're going to Amsterdam this year, be aware of that as well. One of the biggest travel news stories this year was the Paris bed bugs infestation. And according to experts, bed bugs have become resistant to many of the insecticides used to eliminate them, which means they're going to continue to be a problem no matter if you're traveling luxury or budget. So here are a few steps to help avoid them. First, when you enter your hotel room for the first time, put your luggage on a hard surface counter or in the bathtub because bed bugs can't climb up on a slick surface. Then check the bed. And I know, it kind of grosses me out too. You're going to want to pull back that fitted sheet and look for both the insects themselves and telltale signs of blood stains on the mattress. I know it's gross. You should also check any other furniture that is close to the bed, like chairs and dressers. Obviously, if you find the bugs or signs of the bugs, immediately let someone know and get moved to another room or probably another hotel. And finally, here are some general travel tips that I think are going to be pretty important in 2024. Carry 2 forms of payment with you at all times. Even with all the technology available today, there are still times when you might encounter a foreign ATM or credit card machine that your one card won't work in. Make sure you are carrying at least 2 cards with you and make sure those credit card companies know where you are traveling so they won't deny payment. Now, I know that there have been some people who have said you don't need to let your card companies know or your banks know anymore about where you are going. But if you are using a, say, small credit union, ATM, or debit card, I would still let those smaller banks know because they may be a little more quick to deny payment. I definitely let my bank know when I was going to Japan this year, and they still ask that you let them know if you are traveling abroad. Bigger credit card companies like Chase and Capital One and American Express generally don't need to have that information. Some of them have places on their websites where you go into your account and you can let them know in the account that you're going to be traveling. I would still let your bank know if you're traveling abroad and planning on using your debit card while you are traveling. I'd rather be safe than sorry. And talking about making payments, always have some local cash on you. I was surprised at how much I needed to use cash instead of cards when traveling in Japan. And I have found that it's often the case when traveling in Central America and the Caribbean, you need to have cash. Even though the airport ATM might charge a slightly higher exchange rate, it is a good idea to get enough cash to pay for your transportation and maybe a little extra just in case they don't take a credit card. Use a VPN when you are traveling to protect all of your online information. It's super easy to set up, and the one I use allows multiple devices to be set up with one VPN. So like my daughter and I can share the VPN. I'll have a link below if you're interested in learning more. If you want to travel in 2024, but you have analysis paralysis regarding where to go, you could consider a surprise trip. One of the top travel prediction trends of this year. There are multiple companies that will take criteria like how many days, what your budget is, what you want to do, and they will create a whole surprise itinerary for you that you won't learn where you're going until you open the package the day you are leaving. Honestly, as kind of a control freak, this idea both fascinates me and stresses me out at the same time. And none of us need more stress when it comes to travel. In fact, this video here will give you the tools to de-stress your travels this year.